Hi, my name is Julie, and this is the pilot episode for the channel Ugly Pennies. And just a little bit behind why I want to do what I want to do here, how I want to use this channel. Um, I just kind of want to go over about what I would like for this to be about and a little bit about who I am and also give you some resources. So, to begin with, why I chose the name Ugly Pennies, as I would like for this to be centered around, you know, any kind of personal growth, especially for those affected by trauma, mental health issues, addiction, things like that. I would like to, um, speak with other people about what they've done to cope, what they've done that helps them, and I'll talk about some things that have helped me, as this is something I've been dealing with since childhood. And and for some quick resources, um, well, number one, if you're dealing with any of these, I highly, highly suggest finding yourself a therapist, a counselor, perhaps a psychiatrist if you need one. And don't be afraid to reach out to any of them, as people have been in counsel with each other for thousands of years, and these days we have professionals to help us. And for those that are a little bit iffy about the psychiatry side, I just wanted to, what will people think of me? We walk around with stigmas. That's why I call it ugly pennies. So the way I imagine it, and this is gonna sound like a weird pseudo profound kind of saying, but um, like pennies that you see that get grimy, that that are all different ages, that are all different. Some are tarnished, some are just how does it even get this dirty? And I just look at that like myself, and they travel all over, been a little bit of everywhere, people's pockets, the ground, in a register, all kinds of different places that you go. And that's where you can accumulate all this grime if you're not, kept up with. So, and some people look at you as worthless and just throw you on the ground. It's like, whatever, it's just a penny. And then some people are, penny pinchers, and they'll do everything they can to hang on to you. And so I just look at it that way as far as fighting, fighting the stigma. Like that's what we are. That's and that's okay, because you're still valuable. You're still a penny. You're still worth something, and that's what I would like to get out of this. And I hope it helps someone else too. I would love that. And I'd also love to have these discussions with other people and just get behind that. Now, this being my first episode, I'm going to be all over the place because I'm still figuring out how I want to structure this. I'm sorry. So just be patient with me. All right. So, and me getting back to, for now, I would like to get back to resources. Hang on just a moment. So, there are many platforms available for help. Um, you know, for me, I love reading articles, like articles you can find on Psychology Today, which is a website, and they are just awesome. I just love everything that's posted on there. It's a lot of valuable information, regarding anything like, personality disorders, mood disorders, addiction, trauma. It's all there. And you've got all these different articles written by different people on them. And I I highly recommend just browsing through it sometime, and you can also find a doctor on Psychology Today. So, whether it be a counselor, psychiatrist, whatever you need, you can also browse through it on their site. You can even get it as narrow as, like someone that, let's say you're specifically looking for someone, that's well versed for children, or, if you're LGBTQ, if you need that, you can also narrow it down as far as that. So that's why I love Psychology Today. I am not affiliated, and I'm going to say I'm not affiliated with any organization that I'm going to mention here, but I do see the good that they do, and I would like to make them known here. One platform I like, which is for, because typically if you have to get help for this kind of stuff and you need more than one doctor, such as, you need a counselor, you need a psychologist, you need a psychiatrist, to have them all in one spot, I really like Cerebral, which is an app you can use where you have meetings and you speak, you know over the computer with your doctor. So, which especially during the times of COVID where we can't get out as much, or, let's say you have a really busy schedule and the nearest doctor is 40 miles away and you don't know how you're going to make it. You know, to me, it's a very good platform. It's I don't know. I have nothing but good things to say about them, and they can even mail your prescriptions right to your door if you need prescriptions. And also for youth, if you're a young person, I also want to make known the Trevor Project, as many people might be familiar with, um, and their phone number, if you need anything like that, it is 1-866-488-7386. And you can visit their website at thetrevorproject.org. And that provides crisis intervention and suicide prevention for LGBTQ youth. As we both know, or we all know, the struggles that you can face when, you're perceived as different, you're stigmatized. And so that's, I wanted to make that known, make that, some knowledge you can use or pass it on to someone you might think is struggling, you know. And also, since I'm in New Jersey, um, the other helplines I have here are, let's see, so for your mental health, for free emotional support from trained staff, you can call 866-202-HELP, or that would be 866-202-4357. Or you can text NJHOPE to 51684, and they're open 7 days a week from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. And for struggling with addiction, you can call 844-REACH-NJ. All right. So I think that pretty much covers everything that I wanted to mention as far as resources for now. Just I wanted to open with that, and there are numerous suicide hotlines out there. A quick Google search will give you many answers. People you can text, people you can email, people you can call to get those resources for you if you need that. So, and I also wanted to mention something I just wanted to brush on as far as, because I've met many people that are afraid of psychiatry, that are afraid of the effects it would have on them, that are afraid of, anything it might do to them, to side effects, because it could affect, who you are as a person. Not really who you are as a person, but more so like, your, how do I put this? Like, like you could be zoned out, you might act slightly different than you're used to. And sometimes it can be really confusing when you've been sick for so long that you feel like you don't know who you are. You don't know what's you, what's the illness, what you, like should be, as far as those regards. And I just wanted to take a little bit of a backstory for myself. So I would be afraid of taking things like such as antipsychotics, even though I know they work well for me and my condition. But I was so afraid of the side effects. It's so hard to deal with. You gain a ton of weight. Fall asleep all the time. I even totaled a car because I fell asleep at the wheel. So but that was kind of my fault. I took it too early, and I thought I could drive home in time before it hit me, and I could not drive home in time. And, well, I crashed into a guardrail. So, but things like this are very real, and I understand how someone could see, like let's let's weigh pros and cons here for a second. I get extremely suicidal, um, and all I want to do is hurt myself and be gone. That's what my brain has always gone to. I've been this way for 20 years since I first realized that when I knew that, and so me taking medications at first, and also my family just, not being super understanding at first with any kind of mental health, any kind of professional help in this arena, until it got to the point where they're like, we don't know what else to do. Um, so I was on lighter medications that didn't do a whole lot for me for quite a while. Like they helped some in some areas, but I wasn't 100%. So for me, going back on antipsychotics recently, I feel like I don't know. It's strange to describe, but it felt like I had a block in my brain that where my brain could not communicate with itself, with things that I already know, things that, are going on around me. And I'm thinking, well, I know this, but I know that, but I can't see it. It's like being in a fog that you can't see through. But the hardest part was that I was aware I was in a fog most of the time. And, and I would get so frustrated and be like, why can't I see? Why can't I see? I need to be able to see so I can know where I'm going and do anything about it. And I would get very, very, very frustrated as there's no quick fix to pull me out. There was no quick fix. Well, there was when I did struggle with drug addiction and alcoholism. That was my quick fix to make all those, internal voices, all that, arguing with each other, just a huge argument going on in my head to make them shut up. And that was why I used drugs as an escape. And so there, I wanted to just touch on that. So, but it's been a while since I've used anything like that, or at least at the frequency I was, and then I made excuses um, for the past several years to, be able to pull me out of that. And but it's just not the answer. I don't need a crutch like that. And back to weighing pros and cons of the effects that you could see from medications is yes, they can adversely affect your life, but that's why you have your doctors there. That's why they have the sheets that the pharmacy gives you. That's why it's printed on the bottle. Um, you know like be careful, like operating heavy machinery to see how you respond. So this time around, when I got put back on them, that block that I was talking about in my brain felt like it was finally out, and I could actually see, like I was out of the fog, and I could actually see what the hell is going on around me, and I could fully be aware of it. And I don't have to sit there and be like, where the hell am I going? Why can't I? Like I know this, but why do I feel like this? Why do I feel so lost? Why do I want to hurt myself? Why? Because I would get so frustrated. I get so lost there, and I felt hopeless, absolutely hopeless. And because when I get stuck there for too long, I mean, I feel like it's almost a natural human reaction to where if you're lost, you go into survival mode, whether it's, in your brain or literally, like on the street. Um, because I've seen quite a few, as we all know, there are quite a few mentally ill homeless people out there, and or drug addicted individuals, as we often self medicate. And I really suggest against self medicating. It's I understand some people are kind of forced to, as there's no options available, and unfortunately, um, mental health is bottom tier in the USA. And I've experienced this personally, and many other people have too. So if you can find a good, resource for you, I highly, highly suggest taking advantage of it to its fullest. So, oh, but back to, being afraid of reaching out for help. There's nothing to be ashamed of. Um, and as far as me at the wheel, like on these antipsychotics, or, completely, there are times where I got frustrated with my medications and, how they made me feel, or I felt like they weren't working, and I just throw them out, against the wall, be like, screw this, I hate this. I'm not sick, or, like I didn't think I was as sick as I really was. I'm like, I can just get over it. I can just pull myself out. That's what people tell me all the time. This is what this is the answer. And then after a while, being without them, which could be anywhere from days to months to even a couple of years at one point. Um, and then it really sets in. You do need these because you are a danger to yourself and others. Because even when I drive like I'd be very distracted. Anything I would see, I'd be very uh, emotional behind the wheel. And I still do this when I get frustrated. I gnash my teeth and just hold my jaw very stiff. And I've fractured quite a few teeth this way. And got a nice chip going on in the middle here, so that wasn't always there. But and missing a tooth back there. Same reason. I gnash my teeth and I fracture my teeth. And I've been driving where I spit out bits of my teeth, and it's very disturbing. Um, and or if I'm self-medicating under the influence of drugs that I thought were mild, that were okay enough to drive, I annihilated quite a few mailboxes. So, weighing the pros and cons, if I could take my medication as directed, as, I should, I am so much more attentive to the road. I'm so much more attentive to everything around me. And when I first got put back on these, my husband would follow me in my car wherever I went, morning, afternoon, night, just to make sure that, I'm not swerving around the road, that I'm not, you know, whatever, just to make sure that I'm able to drive safely. Because another recent bout of being on these, I was falling asleep at the wheel, and we tried toying with time, but I was too upset about taking time off work, and I refused to take that time for myself to be able to monitor myself on these new medications, which was a really dumb idea. I just wanted to make people aware of that. Um, so, with that being said, if you do get put on these, monitor them closely for, a couple of weeks, whatever your doctor might suggest. I would highly suggest bringing these up to your doctor as possible things that you could deal with. And for anyone afraid of them, I just wanted to make it known that I'm going to start with a little bit of the history of lithium carbonate. And I'm going to be reading an excerpt from psychologytoday.com. And that and the title of this one is called Lithium Carbonate, the Penicillin of Psychiatry. And it was posted on August 17th, 2019, if you would like to read the full article. And 2,000 years ago, for 2,000 years, this has been in use to treat people who are unwell mentally. Sorry, that was me adding that in. Okay, now I'll get back to the article. Okay, 2,000 years ago, Roman physicians would send their nervous and temperamental patients to bathe in particular springs in Western and Southern Europe to treat their psychological ailments. We now know that these specific bath springs contain the highest natural concentration of lithium salts anywhere in Europe. Without knowing it, the Romans discovered the therapeutic value of lithium thousands of years before it was rediscovered by John Cade in 1948 as a treatment for manic depression. And and that's the end of that excerpt. And just some tidbits of information. It was also originally used to treat gout, and then also what they referred to as brain gout. In other words, you know what I mean. So, before it was seen as therapeutic use here. And lithium is a naturally occurring salt in the earth. And it's been used for a very long time. And if you can moderate it, which I highly suggest doing that, you can't just, nilly willy just, go out there and try to live on these and, and just think I can do my best with enough willpower, because that's how I am. Don't do that. Please don't do that. It was a bad decision. Just take the time to monitor them, talk to your family members, talk to your friends, let them know, give you feedback on how you're doing. If there's anything noticeable that you need to bring up to your doctor. And another thing to look out for, again, on antipsychotics would be tardive dyskinesia, which there are actually treatments for now. When I was originally put on these years ago and I started to show signs of it, like my tongue getting stuck to the roof of my mouth, and like trembling hands, and it makes me very self-conscious. Like, I felt like that was all people see when they looked at me, was me like shaking and like little facial tics. And but now that I'm on a newer antipsychotic that wasn't available when I was first around on them, the first couple of times, and it's been a lot milder for me, and I can function finally at a higher level. And for anyone afraid of it affecting your job, um, I just want to let you know, me personally, I can still have my DOT physical exam so that I can drive service trucks and everything in my line of work. And you can talk to your doctor about options for you that would be milder, that would be, where you can keep your job and you're not, as on, like to where you're not, to where you'd be unable to do it, that there are options for you. And uh, I really hate the stigma that we have to walk around with day to day. I really hate there are many people who don't understand, who look at it like the bootstraps version is what I call it. Like, just get over it. Just get over it. Believe me, I tried. I tried so hard. And anybody that knows me personally knows I'm a very driven, a lot of willpower. If I put my mind to it, I can do it. But I'm not always smart about it. I I'll go where, I know better than you know, like, I think we all do that a little bit. But so I just had to take a step back and be like, this is something you need help with. You need outside help with. You need to listen. And that finally hit me. And I'm like, oh my God, that's right. So, and then, when it hit me like a ton of bricks. I'm like, you're so stupid, Julie. Oh my God. I'm not really stupid. I just, I couldn't think clearly, and I really thought I was doing the best that I could. And I wish someone, could have hit me with that frying pan, the frying pan of knowledge on the back of my head, and be like, Julie, you have touched the stove 1001 times. Please stop and let someone help you, because touching the stove does not help you, Julie. I wish someone told me that. But, I didn't even know that. It would be hard for anyone else to see that. It's hard for anyone to know that except me, you know. And sometimes it can be hard to describe it to doctors, because it's such a, I don't know, it's such a strange thing trying to explain to a doctor. Sometimes I feel like I'm not myself. Sometimes I feel like I'm someone else. Sometimes when I think of myself, for some whatever reason, I don't even know, I always imagine myself as someone else. I imagine myself as people I make up that I've never seen in my head. I'll see myself as, like, there was a while I went through a phase where I would see myself as a black man with dreadlocks. Like, every time I would think about myself in a situation, I saw this man, but he was me. And it's very hard for me to describe that to a doctor, because I don't want them to think I've absolutely lost my mind. I don't want to be committed. Nobody really wants to, but I have been 3 times now. And that's okay. That's what psychiatric wards are there for, to help you get stabilized and regulate your medication. and that's what they're there for. Some are better than others. Like it's kind of sometimes you have to shop around, like for doctors, for facilities, but really, my suggestion there is take away what you can get. You get out what you put in. Regardless, they're giving you tools, and it's up to you to learn how to use them properly. That is completely up to you. And the way I like that one doctor told me to look at it is to think, of my well being for my particular circumstance where I do need medication counseling and everything else. He's like, look at it as percentages that vary. So sometimes, like to my well being for me to be 100%. So I have to watch my medications. I have to talk to my therapist, psychologist, whoever. I need to talk to them and be honest with them. Be honest. It's really hard, and sometimes we think we are being honest, and it's a difficult path to navigate, and it can often take years and years and years and years to see any results from it, to see good results from it, and it takes a while. So unfortunately, like we can't just take a blood test and tell you, oh, you have this, so we treat it with that. We don't have that kind of technology yet. So hopefully one day that would be cool. And then also the last component is the work that you do, the work that you do yourself. So, like, let's say, sometimes my medications will be 70% of my well being, and then therapy will be accounted for the 10%, and then the work that I do is 20% for that time being. And then sometimes the work that I do is 80%, and my keeping track of my medications would be the 10%, and then, talking to my doctors, the other 10%. And it varies sometimes throughout the day as to what you need for you to be 100%. And it's a very difficult path to navigate, I know, and sometimes you have no idea which area you need help with. And that's okay. That's just being human. You're human. And that's okay to be human. It would be weird if you were anything else and you're watching this. Maybe some robots, I don't know. But even then, even if you think you're some kind of indestructible machine, machines need maintenance too. You got to change your car's oil. You got to keep up with the brakes. You got to do all that. Even machines need maintenance. You do too. And that's okay. It's not a sign of weakness. We all need it to some degree. Some are worse than others, some are sicker than others, but this is not a competition. I'm not here to prove anything to you about, what I've been through. I have nothing to prove. All I want to do is help myself, and I hope it can help someone else too. And you can reach out to me. I would also love suggestions on anything, you'd like me to do with this channel. If you would like to speak to me, and we could have, like a little bit of an interview, a back and forth about any topic. But I would like this to be centered around what helps you, such as for me personally, I love schedules. I love lists. I love things like that. That helps keep me sane, because when I try to do it all on my own, I get lost. And I'm trying to do too many things at once, and I couldn't make the time blocks to get to everything that I wanted to do. But if I schedule out a list, I work on this for exactly an hour and a half on Tuesday. So that way I know I accomplished something for that specific thing that I want to do. And, I put the effort in, and that's what I want. So that way I can maintain, that way I can keep up with, everything from work to school to doctor's appointments to time I spend with my husband to time I spend with, this friend that I haven't seen in a while to, like working on, going to change the oil in my car to, things like that. And so I can just block it all out and even, remind myself to eat, because sometimes I'm flying by the seat of my pants. I'm like, oh, but I'm being so productive right now. I don't have time for a snack. But I really need those breaks. Everyone needs a break, even during the day even if you're doing your best work, stop. just stop for a moment, have you an apple, have some have some baby carrots, have some chips, and just sit down, even if it's just 10 minutes, and then take a break. And that will also maintain your productivity so that you're not making as many mistakes when your brain starts to get overloaded. Please take a break for yourself. So that's kind of where I'd like to end this right here. So you can message me on the channel, or you can send me an email, and it is uglypennies@gmail.com. Again, that's uglypennies@gmail.com. Or message me right here on the channel, or a comment. And I would love to hear anything you'd like to do with this channel. This is our channel. This is for the ugly pennies, for the bunch of you ugly pennies out there. As corny as that sounds, I know. Trust me, I know. But, I just really, that this is also for me. This is something that I want to do. This is something that, I want to get something out of, and I hope someone else can get something out of it too. So thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate your time that you've put in to listen to me babble for a little while. I really do appreciate it. Thank you so much. All right. Have a great day. Bye-bye.